How many IUL policies can you own? I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize their assets and minimize taxes. My favorite financial vehicle, without question, is a property structured max funded IUL. Now, people will then say, well, how many of these can you own? Well, the simple answer is as many as you qualify for. When you take out a max funded IUL, you have to have a death benefit commensurate with the amount of money that you want to reposition to optimize those assets. Let me back up right there. So what's asset optimization? A lot of people have a lot of their money in investments or places that aren't even really an investment. A bank or credit union, maybe an investment, but it's very low yielding. And so when you're optimizing assets, you're looking at those assets that you have that are not as liquid as they could be, because liquidity is the number one key element of a prudent investment. Number 2 is safety, not only of the institution, but safety of your principal. Whatever you set aside, you don't want to lose that principal, but any year you make money, I want that to become newly protected principal to not lose in future years money I made in previous years, okay? Next is rate of return. In this order, liquidity, safety, rate of return. Too many advisors go after rate of return and you lack liquidity or safety and you get into trouble, okay? So liquidity, safety, rate of return, and then tax advantages are icing on the cake. Now, when you can increase the liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages on any money or assets that you have, that's optimizing that asset over where it is right now, okay? So we reposition assets to optimize liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages. So when we do that, people are thrilled because they see how much better off they are 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road to age 65 and to age 120 without depleting their nest egg, where if they keep their money in those underperforming or non-performing assets, they run out of money by age 76. It's a huge difference when you optimize assets and minimize or eliminate taxes, okay? So people do this, and we begin to look at the assets that are underperforming and non-performing. Now, how many can you own? I'm talking about IUL. Well, it's as many as you qualify for. Now, there's 2 main criteria to qualify for IUL. The first is obvious. You have to have good enough health to qualify, but a lot of people think they have to be in excellent health. No, sometimes I oversimplify it saying, hey, if you can fog a mirror. Well, it's a little bit more than that. But I've had people, I had a friend of our family years ago, 78 years old. And he had 3 blocked arteries, adult onset diabetes, a prostate cancer episode. He had 6 sisters, all predecease him, and 3 brothers predecease him. He was the sole survivor left among his siblings. And we shopped several different insurance companies because he wanted to put in $500,000, maximum fund it, take the least death benefit, so that $500,000 could generate a 10% payout of $50,000 a year tax-free, the 10% payout. Many people, that's what their goal is. They want to have tax-free income, a 10% payout without depleting their nest egg. IUL can do that when it's structured correctly. Well, I want the minimum insurance in order to do that. I want the cost of the insurance to be very, very low. So at age 78, he was rated table D. That means his cost of insurance was double a normal 78-year-old. He had the life expectancy of an 83-year-old. But once we knew he was rated table D, the tax citations, TEFRA and DEFRA that I teach on this channel, allowed me to squeeze down the death benefit, lower the death benefit. If he wanted to sock away $500,000 to get $50,000 a year of tax-free income, the minimum death benefit, if he was healthy at age 78, might be $1 million. Now he could buy way more insurance than $1 million. You're trying to get the least amount of insurance. But you put in $500,000, the minimum death benefit's $1 million. And that is keeping the cost of insurance down so that he can pull out $50,000 a year tax-free. but his $500,000 he puts in qualifies as part of the death benefit. The insurance company is only charging him the difference between his cash and the original death benefit required. That is explained on this channel, okay? It's where the cost of insurance can get cheaper as you get older. Have you seen an insurance policy get cheaper as you get older? You haven't seen one structured like I'm talking about here, okay? And so he was rated. So the tax laws with the government allowed me to squeeze down the death benefit, lower it from $1 million down to 700 and some odd thousand. And guess what? The cost for that much for his age was the same as a healthy 22-year-old athletic marathon running female who, if she was putting aside $500,000, would be required to have $4 or $5 million of insurance. Okay. So once you understand this, he was able to put in $500,000 and generate $50,000 a year of tax-free income. He earned 11% and netted 10, just like a 22-year-old. Okay. So you have to qualify health-wise, and he did, even though he was rated. Don't rule yourself out if you've had health issues. We've had people that have had heart issues 5 or 6 years before, or maybe a prostate cancer episode. Don't rule yourself out. You'd be shocked how many people qualify. Now, what if you don't qualify? What if you're turned down? Well, it's the owner of the IUL that gets all the tax-free accumulation of money and tax-free growth. You can own an IUL on somebody else, like your spouse or your adult children. That's called a surrogate insured, but you get all the tax-free income, okay? So there are ways to benefit, but you have to qualify, or somebody does health-wise. The other qualification is called a financial underwriting guideline. I'm going to simplify this. You just can't walk into any insurance company and say, I want $50 million of life insurance. You have to have a reason and justification for that much death benefit, because the insurance company is on the hook. If you die, they've got to pay out $1 million or whatever the death benefit is. And you have probably not paid in near that much money. So they're not going to do that, and they're not going to insure you for more than what you're going to create in an economic loss by virtue of your death, okay? Why? Why do they do that? It's because there's a lot of crazy people in the world that they want to donate their life to some terrorist organization. They would be taking out millions of dollars of life insurance and then strap something around themselves and commit suicide to leave behind millions if they didn't have to qualify for it from an income or net worth standpoint. You can't just get as much as you want. So what's a financial underwriting guideline? When you're younger and you're earning income and you have children, like my wife and I, we had 6 children by the time we were 30 years old. And so if I had died, I would have created an economic loss that if I want to be responsible and accountable, I want to leave behind a death benefit tax-free that will let my spouse, my widow, and my children maintain hopefully the same lifestyle that I would have had for them had I stayed around. So the underwriting guidelines may be 30 times your income when you're 30 years old and you have children, okay? If I was making $100,000 a year, I could qualify for 30 times that, or $3 million of life insurance, so that if I died, $3 million can generate $100, $200, even $300,000 a year of income as if I had stayed around. Does that make sense? But as I get older and the kids are out of the nest, and if I died at age 60, my wife wouldn't need an income as long as she would have needed it had I died 30 years earlier. So at age 60, I might only qualify for 12 or 15 times my income, but my income's maybe much greater. But if I want to sock away so much money into an IUL that the minimum death benefit is still in excess of that formula for income, I can also qualify based upon a function of my net worth. If I have a net worth of, $5 million, pretty much I can qualify for $5 million, 1 times my net worth. Because of the estate tax and what have you, by the time I would die, I might owe that much in estate tax. So you have to qualify financially besides health-wise. And those underwriting guidelines are based upon a function of your income and or your net worth. Does that make sense? You can talk to an IUL specialist to see how much you qualify for. Now, people ask, well then, so I can own as many as I qualify for? Basically, yes. Well, so what are some of the reasons I would want more than one IUL? Well, many times when people come to us and they're optimizing assets by increasing the liquidity, safety, rate of return, and the tax benefits, I will analyze how I can increase liquidity, safety, the rate of return, and tax benefits by repositioning underperforming and non-performing assets, okay? So when we look at doing this, sometimes I'll go around this financial Swiss Army knife because IUL is like the dream solution for all of these goals. Now, many people come the first time because they realize that a properly structured max funded IUL knocks the socks off of where they're putting their money for retirement, like IRAs and 401ks. Yeah, it generates double, triple, quadruple the income that those do, and it's tax-free. You can understand that on this channel. So maybe they set up an IUL to accommodate the money they used to put into IRAs or 401ks, or maybe they do this tax reduction, a strategic rollout, and get money out of those IRAs or 401ks, get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, and then put the net after-tax money into an IUL so their income is tax-free the rest of their life. And we end up doubling, tripling, quadrupling their net spendable income over leaving it in IRAs or 401ks, deferring to age 72 or 73 and taking RMDs. That doesn't save you tax. It actually compounds the tax. So sometimes people set up an IUL to accommodate 500,000, a million, 5 million, sometimes 500 million. Yeah. Wealthy people, they understand this. Now, what if they come into more money later? Maybe they inherit, $1 million. Or their spouse dies and they get $1 million of life insurance. Well, life insurance death benefits are tax-free. Widows come to me and they say, should I pay off my house or what should I do? And I go, no, you'll actually establish credit faster by not paying off the house and just continuing to make the mortgage payment. And you can make the mortgage payment with a portion of interest that you're earning on the million that you just got tax-free. Let's keep it tax-free. Let's put it back into an IUL. And now they have the interest, just a portion of the interest makes the mortgage payment and they keep their credit. And they can establish that because if you pay off the house, you're in trouble when you need to reestablish credit if you're not working as a widow. There's so many things that people do the wrong way. Now, if you have tax-free life insurance proceeds, keep it tax-free. So if they come to me and I go, well, I already have max funded this one. Can I have another one? Yep. Now you have another $1 million, so you qualify for some more money. Financially, they can qualify because they have $1 million of extra money, okay? A properly trained IUL specialist can help you do this. So maybe a business owner comes and says, well, I'm realizing that I have money sitting in a bank or credit union and I'm only earning like 3 or 4% interest. I want to use an IUL where I can earn 8 to 10% and use it in my working capital, like you say in your book. Can I set up an IUL for that? Yeah, if we don't have room in their previous IULs, then we open another one. But see, we have this asset that we're repositioning as long as we qualify. And if they have the health, otherwise we use a surrogate. Same thing with real estate management. Sometimes people sell a piece of real estate. They're sick and tired of being the landlord, taking out the trash, fixing toilets, evicting tenants. They sell a piece of real estate and they have a bunch of money. What do I do with this? I go put it into an IUL, tax-free. And they're shocked that it generates as much or more income than the rental property was. So I have to open another IUL, but they have new money that maybe they couldn't qualify before. They get lump sums from a settlement, an inheritance, whatever it is, okay? Maybe they're socking away money in a 529 college savings plan and they realize this is way better than a 529 plan and I can change the use. If your child or grandchild does not use a 529 plan for college, they have to pay tax. If they use an IUL, they don't have to use it for college. They can use it for down payment on a home. It's still tax-free. Emergency funds. A lot of people reposition money they have in a bank or credit union because it's there for an emergency. Well, they go, actually, I could access my money if push comes to shove faster, smarter, easier in an IUL than a bank with a drive-up window. And they realize that a bank could stall you for 6 months if push came to shove. And they realize the banks and credit unions take 30 to 40% of the money you put there and put it into insurance companies. Just bypass the middleman. When people begin to learn about all of the blades on this financial Swiss Army knife, maybe they have room in their first IUL policy. Sometimes when I set one up, I go around this financial Swiss Army knife and make sure we're setting up an IUL to accommodate all of this. And we just sort of earmark this 100,000 or this million is for this purpose. The next 500,000 is for this purpose. It's under the same IUL maybe, or it could be a different IUL and you're diversifying. This IUL is for this purpose. This IUL is for this purpose. This one on my wife is for this purpose. This one on me is for this purpose. This one with this company is for this purpose. This one with this company is for this purpose. You can have as many IULs as you qualify for, and they can all be for a different purpose if you want. And we have many clients that do that. Oftentimes people have more money because they're making so much money when they become our clients that on the average every 3 years, they have more money than we can accommodate in their existing IULs. And they go, what do I do with this new money I just came across or this income that this bonus I just got? We can set up an IUL. And so about every 3 years on the average, when people come in for annual reviews, we're setting up a new IUL on them and or their spouse. Now, when they're clients for 15 or 20 or 30 years, we have many clients that have 6, 7, 8 IULs. We have one that has 17 IULs. So the answer to the question I posed at the beginning, how many IULs can you own? As many as you want. It helps you diversify. It spreads out the money. If you have more money, that's a nice problem. And we can find a new IUL to put it in. And we can use surrogates if we need to. As long as somebody qualifies physically with the health and the financial guidelines. But if you have more money, usually you'll qualify financially. And you can have IULs for all kinds of different purposes, or you could have all of these purposes accomplished under one single IUL if you do it right from the word go. But most people, they come across new money, and rather than betting on the come, well, I think I might get an inheritance. If you know pretty sure you're going to get an inheritance within 5 or 10 years, I make room for it in their current IUL. If they want to wait until they actually realize it, then we can open up an IUL at that point in time. And that's why many end up with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 IUL policies. Okay? Does that make sense? If you want to learn more about this, you can watch several YouTube episodes on this channel. They're free. But I would recommend you study my book if you haven't yet. It's called The Laser Fund. This is my 12th book, and it's flying off of our warehouse shelves. It retails on Amazon for between $20 to $60. If you buy it on Amazon, thank you. But I'll gift you a copy free. Okay? You simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that, and I'll pay for the book. I will fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. And while you're in there claiming your free copy of this 300-page book, which is 2 books in one, this side is the left brain side with charts and graphs. This side is the right brain side with the stories. Okay. And however you like to learn, you can learn it there. But if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, when you're claiming your free copy, there's those formats available for your investment. And if you want to join us for a free educational webinar, we teach them weekly. They're free. But you can even schedule an appointment with an IUL specialist with no cost or obligation. These are the creme de la creme, the top 13 out of over 5,000 that I've trained that can help you see how a properly structured IUL may work in your particular set of circumstances. And they can structure it to accommodate all of these goals under one IUL, 2 IULs, 4, 2 on you, 2 on your spouse, whatever makes sense for you to diversify and be able to accomplish your financial goals.